My motivation has, since an early age, been one of being of service to people. I've always enjoyed that. My name's Mark Jackson, and my wife Charmaine and I started in Nelspruit in 1981 with a company called Lifehold Aircraft Services that we bought. And then in 1996, we started Leading Edge Aviation. We operate 2 Hueys like this one, and we have a Blackhawk helicopter as the 3rd resource. The big thing for me is making a difference, to have a purposeful life. And I found that when I started getting involved in the firefighting, it was a case of helping people in urgent need. And you can help an old person across the street, and actually it makes your day. I can help people not have their farms burned down, and it makes my day, being able to make a difference. In 2006 we started our first season, and we're still going. I've been doing this work since 2006 with this Huey, and then later with the 2nd Huey, and then in 2016 we bought the Blackhawk, and we started operating her in 2018. Before the firefighting, I was involved in charter work, and I've been involved in a number of rescues, a couple of international rescue efforts where I worked with a number of well-known NGOs like Doctors Without Borders or Medicine Sans Frontiers, World Vision, AirServe International, and I worked with these 8 organizations and found that I absolutely loved the work. We've been able to use our flying skills to bring assistance to people in need. And I think particularly with the Mozambican floods, where we were involved for months, right in the initial stages of lifting people out of trees who really didn't have much of a chance, and just helping them, and it's a feel-good thing. To fast forward to the firefighting, it's exciting flying. It can be a little scary at times, but the big thing for me is making a difference, to have a purposeful life. And I found that when I started getting involved in the firefighting, it was a case of helping people in urgent need, and for the most part actually being able to be successful in that. I wanted to fly my whole life. I could never get enough. Having seen air shows in Nelspruit as a youngster, all I wanted to do was fly. I absolutely love helicopters and flying them and fixing them, so it's a way of joining everything together. If you do this work, you end up meeting people who are in dire need and who are in trouble, and that's the best time to meet people, because you know who you can go to war with and who you can help, and it brings out the best in people.
Hi, I'm Peter. I am one of the pilots on the Blackhawk. I do maintenance, component tracking, flying. Wear a couple of different hats through the sort of Blackhawk operation here. Probably the most exciting part is getting water exactly where it needs to be on the fire. Just seeing, getting a flank under control, getting a head under control, seeing, a lot of steam after a good drop. That just makes you feel like $1 million. Getting the water where it needs to be at that point in time. That's a great feeling, really good feeling. We've been flying the 60 since 2018. This particular bird came from New York via the GSA program, which is the Hawk auction program in the States. This particular machine served in Kuwait, Jordan, a couple of different bases across the US in its life. So I've seen a lot of history, seen a lot of interesting bases, to say the least. It flew in Iraq. It's a great feeling to know you're flying a machine that's been so many different places and done so much different flying and in so many different environments. It's quite a privilege to feel like you can fly a piece of history. In the fire application specifically, I mean, the Hawk, purely from a strength and power perspective, it outperforms most aircraft, certainly here in South Africa. It performs extremely well in difficult conditions, windy conditions. You feel a lot more stable flying in the Hawk, especially on windy days. So I've really enjoyed flying the Hawk, getting out there with bigger loads, seeing the impact of those loads on the fires themselves. The Hawk is it's a completely different feel on the fire line compared to the Hueys. So my career path's been quite varied. Finished at university, then started flying fixed wing. Did my license over in the US on fixed wing. Graduated onto helicopters, flew Schweizer 300s, small aircraft initially, and then moved on to vehicle tracking flying on the 44s and jet rangers, and then from there moved on to eventually getting into flying the Hueys, and then from the Hueys graduated into flying the Blackhawk. Done a bit of nature conservation work, we've done a bit of rhino lifting, worked as a rigger on the ground for helicopter lifting, a couple of different projects involving that, and then gradually started flying right seat in the Hawk, and then subsequently into the left seat after a couple of 100 hours of dual instruction. And it's been a really nice move. Really exciting, really nice to be on the left seat, flying loads on fires, and just making a difference.
I'm Steve Jackson. I'm with Leading Edge Aviation, and I'm one of a couple pilots and team members that make up our crew. I fly both the Huey and the Hawk. I've just started out as a fresh PIC pilot on the Huey this season, which I'm really excited about. I've done a couple seasons in the Hawk, winter and summer seasons. So it's really very exciting at the moment, as well as nerve-wracking when you're going out on the fire. But I've had 2 this season, and I've really enjoyed them. REV is my personal favorite. It's a 1968 UH-1H. And I personally went to Alaska and packed it up, stuck it in a box, and we shipped it over to South Africa. So when I fly in her, she's really special. So firefighting is it's a constantly changing environment. You don't know where you're going to go. You don't know what to expect when you get there. So it's so unique. You got all the elements. You got wind, you got fire, you got water, all mixed into one thing, and you got to get it under control. So you're constantly thinking about each load. You're picking up where it's going, how it's going to behave, and you're flying the bucket more than the helicopter. So you can be there all day, every day, but at the end of the day, it's where your water lands that makes a difference. So there's quite a bit of pressure, especially in South Africa. It's a small market. You don't want to mess around when you're overhead. I'm very new to the game. I've only had a couple solo fires in the Huey. I've done quite a few seasons in the Hawk as a co-pilot. I'm just going about it slowly, and I think that philosophy in aviation is a good thing. You don't want to rush into anything. For anybody entering the firefighting world or wanting to enter it, something that will keep you safe is your demeanor, how you go about your flying, being prepared, being in the right mindset. Don't put yourself in the cockpit if you're not fit for the day. You can't be an egotistic pilot and fight fires, because you'll come short very quickly. I've been flying Hueys since I was 19. I've actually got most of my hours on Hueys, but doing cross-country work along with other experienced pilots on lift jobs, other firefighting. Just recently started out as a captain myself on the Huey, which it's just a single crew operation. We do fly multi-crew when we're doing cross-countries, and depending on what kind of work, relief work or lift jobs, we sometimes fly 2 crews. Well, she's a legacy aircraft, so everybody knows her. It's just a unique feeling. You sit in that cockpit and you look through those great big windows. You hold the controls that guys held in the 60s, over Vietnam, and we still flying in today. We've obviously everything's new in terms of the flight controls and engines, gearboxes. Everything's been gone through many times over their lives, but they handle incredibly nicely. It's a real sensation of flying. The pilot's really got to do the work in the Huey. She's not going to do it for you. In the Hawk, it's also a fantastic platform, but you do get spoiled. The Hawk's got stability augmentation systems that put inputs into the flight controls that assist the pilot. So on a long day, 10-hour fire, the Huey pilots will work really hard. I mean, you normally, a max day is 8 hours in the Huey, 10 hours in the Hawk, and after an 8-hour Huey fire, the guys are going to be pretty tired. So yeah, the Hawk spoils you. It's like having cruise control, and it's such a stable platform. But I think in terms of jumping into a machine and firing up and getting out of there as quick as you can, the Huey's got that. So QRF was recently introduced last season. This is its second season in the Cape, and it's a really exciting project. It's been modeled off what they got going in California to help rapidly react to fires that are in urban interfaces, start to threaten lives and property. So the QRF is to get there as quick as possible, get the water on the fire and contain it to a level until additional resources can be added. It's all funded through insurance consortiums, which put their money behind the Winelands Fire Protection Association. The Winelands Fire Protection Association will dispatch us. They'll make assessments of the fire and can help contain it until the next resource can. I am an engineer as well as a pilot, so I'm what you call a flying spanner. And I also do safety as well, so it's a big part of my job. I want to keep the aircraft young, I want to keep the pilots fit, and I want to keep our operation in tip-top shape. And safety really comes into that. If you don't pay attention to safety, it's going to bite you. So I'm constantly nitpicking at the guys and trying to tweak out little matters here and there to keep everybody shiny. What would I tell a young pilot? I think just to keep trucking, keep going, keep studying. The exams are hard, it takes time to build your hours, but it's worth it. I think flying for me is an escape from the realities of issues we can have on the ground. It could be traffic jams, it could be all sorts of things. And for me, flying is an escape from all of that. You're out there in the free air, and you can see for miles, and all your troubles are this big on the ground. So it's a sensation of freedom, which is what I love. And it's also taken me all over the world. I've been able to be introduced to so many wonderful people. I think with that comes responsibility to help grow the industry, encourage the young guys. I'm just 34 myself, and I've been encouraged, and I want to pay it forwards one day to the next guy.
I've been really privileged to be able to have done this for a long time now. And we are passionate about the work that we do.
You're done for the day. What goes through your mind?
A beer. We always joke about the fact that when it is a long day, and we've had some very long days before, and you're lifting out of the dam, you can see the load in the mirror, or you look out the window, and there's this big orange bag with 1,000 liters in it, with the fire retardant that we inject into each of the loads, it like foams out and it starts to look like a huge draft beer. And you have to focus.